Shalom, shalom, all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, double answer. To Yakim in the faith through the work and truth and in sincerity. I brought this out. This lesson is edifying and straight to the point. This title of this lesson is going to be Nuclear SOOT. As the Adawan is a very, smart brother on this subject. He's the one that, pretty much informed me and the other brothers, from the apostles on down, upon this subject, which is these thick black clouds, which we're seeing in the Middle East, or the Valley of Yahweh Shaphat, where everything will go down. So this comes with cause and effect and consequences, man. How did this happen? This happened via ICBM nuclear missiles. Well, not the ones that are going to be used for the final battle, but, what's scratching the surface, man. These weapons of mass destruction, which the Lord have prepared, for these heathens and our enemies. Black rain in the health, environmental risks from terrains, oil fire. So I'm not really here to cry about, how the earth is being affected pollution-wise and how the health crisis is being affected, but more so about how the scriptures predicted this and how everything is jumping off the scriptures I was speaking about in the book of Habakkuk. Though it tarry, wait for it. The Lord has definitely been showing his hand, showing his men what he's about. So I want to start with the book of Revelation chapter 12. Before we even read this article, I haven't even gotten into it. We're going to get into it together. I brought this out. We can skim through it, and it is edifying. We can get what's important out of it. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, on the earth. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. The devil, who is that? Esau, Edom, Amalek, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. You hear that? Because Esau, Edom know his time is running out, he will unleash his fury. He will unleash great wrath, because he knows he has nothing else to lose. So why not cause as much harm and destruction as possible before he ends out? You think that the so-called devil Esau, Edom, is just gonna roll over and just gonna want to repent and want to do right when things aren't going his way, or he's gonna want to sink the ship down with him? That's what we're seeing today. They'd rather sink down the whole entire ship with them. But this was prophesied, so we're getting to see, how the Lord plays his role with these men, how he controls them. Job 9:24, the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Who are the judges? The saints. He covered those faces with white faces, with other faces, with babies. If not, where and who is he? Who else is covering the faces of the saints? It ain't the so-called Ishmaelites. It's Amalek, man. It's Esau, Edom, painting, these judges differently, man, which is, Lord willing, us, man. Obviously, it's us, but I brought this out. Me, I'll be a part of that elect number, man. It's the elect. It's you men out and women, putting forth for the Most High, man, so we could be chosen. We are the judges of the earth, the Israelites, the chosen ones. We are the head, not the tail. So getting into this article, introduction, overnight of the 7th of the 8th of March, the Israeli-U.S. war, Iran saw a significant escalation. So they're pretty much in a scenario of they hurt, They feel like they're getting plummeted, they're getting beat. Things aren't looking very prosperous, even though they're still confident. They have their Lord, who they believe in, Allah, this and the third. And the scripture tells us how they will band, together to destroy Babylon. So we're not really worried about them giving up. It doesn't say the Persian men are forborn to fight. It speaks about Babylonian men are forborn to fight. Even though Babylon may be looking like they're on the winning end, looking all powerful, it's all for a short time, man. The Lord is the one who gives victory. I want to go to the book of Joel, chapter 2, after we read something else in here. Acute health fears. Iranians on social media describe the ensuing oil fires as hellscape, a black monster, and apocalyptic, a mark of their psychological impact, but what of their acute physical health impact? While the health impacts are long-term, smoke composition, so their lungs are going to be affected, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, volatile organic compounds. So yeah, they being poisoned, man. Their food is definitely poisoned. Their air is poisoned. That's Babylon for you, man. This is what be going on in Babylon, but you can't see it, because it's not done via war weapons. But, we sprayed every day in Babylon. We get sprayed on. We get shitted on. Our food, water is contaminated, fluoride, this, that, and the third, so they're getting it on the bad end, man. We're seeing Esau, Edom really show his hand. We're really seeing Amalek take down the ship with him, as it speaks about in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51. It says, roughly paraphrasing, instead of paraphrasing, we'll just grab it really quickly. I have to go to Jeremiah anyways after Joel. Jeremiah 51, it reads, let me search it out, bear with me, and why are they called the least of the flock? Because they're of the lion, they're a part of Edom. Amalek. Jeremiah 50 and 45, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, that he had taken against Babylon Babal and his purposes, that he hath purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. The least of the flock, man, the smallest nation throughout the Middle East, man, the smallest group or sector of people in Esau Edom's, patriarchal lineage, is able to cause all this strife and has all this power. So small number on the earth, but yet you have so much control. Going to show you the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That don't mean y'all chosen, because the earth is upside down. So you guys would be successfully coursing this earth, man. Not doing it in the way that it's being done. Y'all need to give up the keys, man. Time is up. The Lord's gonna wrap up their show, man. That's what we're seeing. People in Tehran will have exposure to different pollutant concentration based on their proximity to the fires, their local built environment, their building construction, how they spent outside, and the weather. Man, so outside gonna be pretty closed for a long time out there, man. Let's get some images on this black rain, man. Why is black rain falling on Iran, and how dangerous is it? Because Esau Edom, which the book of Proverbs tell you, when the earth is given into the hand of wicked, the people mourn. Israeli strikes hit Iran's oil facilities. So these things have different off spills. They go into their drains. They're flammable. So even when the weapon is detonated or it's shot off, the spills of the oil, once it's contaminated with another missile in the future or with heat, it's a disaster. And then you got the sun that comes out. That's gonna evaporate some stuff, bring it into the atmosphere. So it's just a complete disaster all around, But these are the art and the tactics of Esau Edom and his warrior fucking ways. He's not no warrior. This is not a compliment him, but this is his blood-fiending ways, man. When you get the book of Joel, bear with me, Shah. And this is what's coming, man. A day of darkness, man. Spiritually and physically, man. It's going to be so dark where it can cover a whole country. This is Iran. It says Tehran, so Salakia. But, imagine if they hit it with something bigger. It could definitely cover that region or country, man. Of course. Yeah, when you mix different chemicals and ions and these like it says, the dioxides, man, there's no telling how big things and bad can get, but the scriptures already warned us, man. Things are about to get so bad, people are going to be seeing the smokes afar from another nation off of land. They're going to be wondering, they're going to be in awe. They're going to be weeping. Joel chapter 2, starting at verse 2, it reads, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Who's this holy mountain? The children of Israel, his people, before it's a place. We ain't going to Zion and shunting no trumpet right now, man. We're going to die. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, his people, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. It is a high time to wake out of sleep. It is a high time for our people to know that it is no more twerking season. It is no more crab, pork, shrimp season. It is no more a being ignorant season. It is no more demonic season. This is a time to get right or get left. And the left that's happening here, man, on this go around is going to be bad, man, because the scriptures tells us that it will be a time like never before. So therefore, it's going to be groundbreaking. You're going to have people that wish and want death and still can't get it, man. Trying to kill themselves, spirit still in the body. Dying from their own torment and derisions from the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, the author of all souls. Verse 2 reads, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people. So this is spiritually and literally, because the destruction will bring darkness. And darkness, when darkness is here, that means, light is no longer here. Light will depart. Knowledge will no longer be on the streets as freely as it is now. Doors of mercy will shut. Things will get very dark.
Yeah.
People will go, to and fro trying to find out, answers, trying to, interview people and what's going on. That knowledge is really treasured upon the planet Earth, believe it or not. Highly treasured. People pay and fly and invest into the best and greatest and creative minds which they believe in, so they can get to where they want. A great people and a strong there have not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth in the land as a garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yet nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them that is the appearance of horses and horsemen, so shall they run. Man. So these ICBM nuclear missiles are going to be deadly, man, once they hit these different regions and places like Babylon and our land, which is the land of Israel, which will be rebuilt in the future once the Heavenly Father, only begotten Son, comes down. Pretty much, long story short, it will be rebuilt, but it will be plummeted, while we're here. But Babylon the Great, because of its atrocities and history and those who ran it, the Lord will no longer let it rise again. It will be history. It will be the new Egypt story, the new PR breaking story. What's in the black rain? Unlike burning petrol in your car, much of the oil will probably have been thicker. I'm sure it takes a lot of time for that cloud to move around too, and when it moves around, it's still in the region, in the area. That's probably gonna affect them for years, man. Literally. I mean, until they get a new body, until they get killed and come back on the planet Earth as heathens of ours, that's gonna affect them for the rest of life, because you gotta think about the health effects later down the line which develop, and then the environmental effects which cannot be cleaned up. Some things are just unreversible, irreversible. So therefore, the war is only gonna get worse, man. But we're waiting on the MOTB. That's the only thing holding things up right now, and we know this shit is finished. Because Jacob's trouble is at the door. We could say it started, really. You turn on the news every day, you're seeing a glimpse of Jacob's trouble. You see in the scriptures. You see in YNs. You see in Esau on Esau. You see in family on family. People not having respect for the law. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of the youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. The Lord loves a man, a young woman that comes up into his faith, into his knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, that devotes their life for them at a young age rather than at an older age. Not that the Lord don't accept you, but the Lord knows, your heart, your purity. You come in more fresh. You're not coming, with a lot of baggage. While the sun and the light, or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, and the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. So all the strong men of Babylon shall tremble. This my house, I'm the man of the house. And nigga knock on my door, I pick up the door, 12 get shot. Yeah, you Mr. Rambo. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders shall cease, because there are few. Those that look out the windows shall be darkened spiritually, man. Ain't gonna be no money gonna be made. Ain't gonna be nothing to go out there and do and be bored to and to distract yourself with. And the doors shall be shut in the streets, and when the sound of the grinding is low, he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. Come, man. Gonna get the book of Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 2, and we'll wrap this up. I will wrap this out. This is what we're dealing with, man. This nuclear suit. This is what's coming to Babylon the Great. And it's going to cover Babylon the Great for a long time. We're going to get that scripture in Revelation 2 before we end this. Jeremiah 51:2, and I will send to Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and that shall empty her land for the day of trouble. They shall be against her round about. That's right. And that's speaking of, the ICBM nuclear missiles. The fanners, which is that wind, which is different propulsion and a different systematic ways of the ICBM nuclear missiles. That's how strong that the Lord is, that he was able to give his prophets visions that we're not able to see even clearer and break down, to the T. So these prophets were ahead of their time, even though they didn't have the whole thing. We're much smarter than the prophets of of before. But, that's not to say that they didn't have it. They clearly had it, because now you see how long ago the Lord gave them just little glimpses, and how clear those little glimpses are now. Very clear to us today. Bear with me, Baba Shah. Oh yeah, I'm going to get that. I'm just going to search up the word merchants of the sea. Bear with me, Baba Shah. Revelation 18, verse 15, it says, I want to get verse 11 as well. I want to get 3 verses in Revelation 18. I'm going to jump around. For all the nations have drunk of the wine, meaning the knowledge and the ways and the systems of the wrath of her fornication. The kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through her abundance of her delicacies. So the different presidencies, even though you see these different rulers, like prime ministers, these different enemies, these presidents, this man of war, this commander, operation in chief, this president of that country. Oh yeah, that's the EU nation, NATO, and they're not on the same team, same side. Everyone has been in bed with Babylon the Great. Everyone has made a dollar with Babylon the Great. Everyone is waxed richer off Babylon the Great, off of joining in and following their systems, copying their methods, accepting their ways. Which is, what is Babylonian ways, man? Sodomy, man, pedophilia, stealing, bribery, witchcraft, paraphernalia, drug dealing, so forth and so on. Everything that's on the left-hand side. Things just look good, man, because we make so much money here. So, we decorate it in a way. But when you look truly through things, there's no really real ethical earners at the high level. And with their earnings, they don't do much for the population of the society like other nations or other men of different nations and kings of their nations do, man. People don't look out for each other in Babylon. Babylonian government don't do much to make life easier. They poison us to make things harder so they can thrive and keep the population low. It's just it's a ringer, to say the least. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through her abundance of her delicacies. Revelation 18:11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buy her merchandise forever. Revelation 18:15. This is the point from that smoke. The merchants of the earth, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off of the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught. And every ship master of the company and ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off. That's right, man. So, hey, the scriptures are literally speaking, man. So if you can't get it, it's not for you. I brought this out. This lesson's edifying and straight to the point. Shalom.